Huntingburg is a city with about 6,000 residents in southwestern Indiana. It's located in Du Bois County, about 6 miles from Jasper, the county seat. Like many small towns, Huntingburg has one major employer, OFS, Office Furniture Systems, a family-owned furniture manufacturer employing nearly 1/4 of the community's residents. Also, like many small towns, Huntingburg struggles to maintain a vibrant business district in its downtown. Unlike many small towns, Huntingburg's downtown is alive with new activity, involving some very young and energetic entrepreneurs.
I own a small women's boutique. I sell everything from apparel to jewelry, shoes, handbags, even candles. Our main thing is we sell affordable and trendy clothing for women, usually from the age about 18 all the way up to 55, 60. Building the relationships with my customers is the coolest thing. Being here now for a little over almost a year and a half, I've been able to maintain those really loyal customers, and they'll bring their kids in and even their newborn babies, and I'll sit here and hold them while they try on clothes. I mean, just building those relationships with those customers is the neatest thing in the world.
I'm a chiropractor. I have my own office here in Huntingburg. I obviously like working with people as well, but just making them feel better, seeing them progress, keeping them healthy, just giving back to the community is great. I love when people come in and they're like, I feel so much better. It's like the best feeling in the world. That's the biggest reward right there.
My business is Cool Beans. It is located on 4th Street in Huntingburg. It's a coffee shop. It's a sandwich shop. We have a full menu, full lunch menu. We do homemade pastries for breakfast. We have all kinds of coffee drinks, teas. We have cigars, ice cream. We've got all kinds of stuff. I've always had a passion for food. And it's funny the way it's come around, because now I have a huge passion for coffee too. And I didn't before, but I think my main reason for getting involved with it was my passion for food and eating and local and natural and organic.
Each of these young entrepreneurs was born in Du Bois County and left the area to go to school.
Well, I started at IUPUI in Indy, and I went for tourism, conventions, and event management. I went to school for 3 years. I wanted to travel with it. I thought maybe event planning would be something I'd want to do. I went to school in the Virgin Islands for a semester. Then I went out to Colorado and planned on going to school. That kind of fell through. I came home and was just kind of in between. So I ended up going to school in Evansville for a semester. It didn't feel right to me. I kind of have a passion for organics, and I've got family that farm organics and stuff, and that was something that I wanted to do with Cool Beans. So I just started there as a summer job about 2 years ago. I would drive home every weekend and work. And then about a year ago, I ended up buying it. So I managed it for about 6 months before buying it, and kind of getting my feet wet, knowing it front to back before I was buying it. So that was really nice, the way it worked out.
Everything looks okay? Yeah. And you both have diet, didn't you?
Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't initially in the plans. I actually looked at some other places to go, but I realized I just wasn't comfortable without the support of family and friends. I grew up here, I knew the area, I knew a lot of people, so it just felt right to come back.
I moved to New York after school, and I wanted to be there. That's kind of the mecca of fashion apparel. I've lived there for about 3-4 years off and on, and as I got older, you start to miss your family. You see your nieces and nephews growing up, and you really start to reflect as far as where do you want to be. And for me, I wanted to be closer to my family. And it just happened I was visiting from New York with my sister, and we were walking up and down 4th Street like we do every time I came home, and this building was open, and it just hit me. And I knew this is where I wanted to be. I knew this is where I need to open it. Growing up around here, we all went to Evansville to go shopping, so I knew this would be something new and exciting. And if you're gonna try it, I wanted to have my family with me to support me. So that's kind of why I decided to do it here.
Without a doubt, I wouldn't be able to run Cool Beans as I do without my family. It might be a little more behind the scenes, the help that they give, but it's definitely the most important help that I get. I definitely value my employees, but the help I get from my family, my parents especially, it's one of a kind, and it wouldn't be the same without it.
While family was the main motivator in bringing these young entrepreneurs back to their rural roots, there were additional benefits to starting a business in a small town.
One of the first things I fell in love with is walking down the street. I ran out of printer paper, I walked down to Cecil's, instead of running out to Walmart. So it's just, little things kind of bring you together.
I can walk next door and ask somebody a question and they'll give me an answer right away. They'll help any way they can, even if it doesn't affect their business. I can walk down to Sarah's and grab a shirt over lunch. I can go to Anna's and get a drink. And like she said, everything is walking distance. And it's just really convenient, and everybody's supporting everyone. They're all in the same boat.
I know customers come in here around lunchtime. The first thing I do is either send them down to Anna's or tell them about all the other lunch places around the town.
My office, referrals are the biggest way of bringing people in. And in a small town, everyone talks. So if you do something and they love it, they're going to tell all their friends, all their family, and next thing you know, everyone's in your door.
I completely agree. I just opened my second store in Evansville, which is obviously a much bigger city than Huntingburg, and it is just completely different. If someone would have told me that opening a business in a smaller rural community was easier than a bigger city, I just probably would have laughed. But seeing it firsthand, it's just completely different. It's a lot harder. You have to put in, I would say, almost 3 times the amount of work to just get word of mouth out there. And it's really neat to kind of have the community have your back.
Having community support and the support of fellow entrepreneurs makes starting and growing a business a little easier.
We'll talk like, how's your week been? Have you been busy? It's for advertising. I know if I see they tried one thing and I haven't tried it yet, we'll talk about, did it work for you? Did you have any feedback? What do you think about it? That's really helpful because obviously advertising is a huge expense and you don't know what's gonna work for you. So you kind of have to test the waters. So that's really nice, I think, to have people to lean on.
I take things too personally, so hearing certain things really gets to me sometimes, and I need an outlet to like hear that it's okay, you are doing okay and stuff, or maybe you should change it. So that's the biggest thing for me, I think.
I know when you and I talked about having to fire employees, and I think I had to fire my first employee a little bit before her. And we had talked about that because it's so nerve-wracking. You just don't want to make anybody mad, but just even emotional things like that to talk about and be like, well, this is what I did, and it's helpful. It really is.
Even with their passion and personal support system, entrepreneurs need to have access to a fertile environment in which to grow their businesses. Business groups like the local Chamber of Commerce and Merchants Association play a significant role in cultivating that environment.
Especially during the summer, they bring buses of visitors in, and they always send out emails giving us a heads up, like, hey, look for a big lunch crowd. There's going to be people walking around. This is how many people we have coming to town. And the Chamber and also the Merchants Association, they're the ones who organize pretty much all the events that happen around 4th Street. Christmas stroll is one of our biggest ones, obviously, but then we have like the citywide yard sale, our sidewalk sales, the daffodil stroll.
Yeah, they are on top of everything. They're willing to promote your business in any way they can. They're great. I like to sponsor things because it's a way of advertising, but you're also kind of giving back to the community, but you're getting your name out there in the same way. Like I sponsor the farmers market because I think supporting your local farmers is huge.
The Huntingburg Mayor's office and the city's various departments help to create an environment that is supportive of entrepreneurial growth.
The one advantage that we have in attracting new businesses to Huntingburg is I think that the downtown area, it gives me something to sell. It's got a historic flavor to it, it's got a very homey feel. Everything up and down the street is primarily local business. I want to give full credit to a long history of people who have been involved and saw that vision years ago when small towns were having the problem of dealing with the big boxes coming in town. How do we survive? How do we thrive? And there were some very strong visionary people in our community that said, we can establish a niche. We have a place that people can see and say, this is the type of place I want to be in. And then it extends beyond the downtown business area. We have a very strong park system. We have a great asset in our league stadium, which is a stadium that was built by Columbia Pictures as part of the movie A League of Their Own. It's not just a movie set, it's an active baseball stadium where we have a baseball team that plays during the summertime and provides a great recreational opportunity. When you talk about your community, you want to be able to stand someplace, and when you stand there, you know where you are. And I can think of 3 or 4 places in Huntingburg where I could stand there and look and go, it can only be in Huntingburg.
There must be more than historic buildings and parks to attract entrepreneurs to a small town.
But we do have some tools in the toolbox. We've passed a tax abatement program that helps for those looking for maybe a larger employment base, but we also have revolving loan funds available.
The City of Huntingburg has a revolving loan fund that they offer to small business owners. Basically what it is you submit a business plan. There's people like on different banks that are on that board that review your business plan. And at the end of the day, they will decide if they want to loan you the money. The great thing about it is at a very low interest rate, and it's very easy to pay back. So, because since I lived in New York, I had no collateral. I didn't have a house, I didn't have a car that I owned. I had nothing pretty much to my name. So there was nothing to back me up wanting to start this business, even though I had half the money to put in. So it was a really good option for me to go through the revolving loan fund.
Huntingburg is one of the first communities to take advantage of tax increment financing areas, and we've had a great experience with that. We use that as a way to continue to support growth in our industrial park areas. It goes beyond just utilities.
The mayor asked if I would be part of a panel for a loan that Huntingburg got for a downtown revitalization. It really just made me understand a little bit more how hard they work, like how hard the mayor has worked, how hard Nick works for the chamber. It takes a lot of that. You can't just sit around and hope for it.
What about the future? How will Huntingburg continue to grow?
It would be neat to have maybe an art gallery or a music store or something like that. Would be really neat. And I know things like that have maybe been tried here before, but I feel like it's a new day for 4th Street. Like it's not what it was 5-10 years ago even. So I would love to see something like that. I can understand why people are probably hesitant to do it, but heck, we're doing it. Like we can, we're trying.
If we could do just some really neat things like a wine bar, just something really cool that we haven't had before. Maybe one night have music somewhere, have a block like knocked off to where people can sit in the middle of the road and listen to music, drink coffee, do something that's just really neat and creative and out there. I mean, even if only it's once a month, just something really neat that they can get out of their house, enjoy 4th Street, because it's absolutely beautiful.
But look how well the craft beer, jazz, and wine festival has gone over. I was so proud of being a part of that this past year, and I think everybody feels the same way about that.
What we need to do is really look at how can we complement the strength that we have and make us even stronger. A young man who has just graduated from Ball State had the idea for a men's clothing store, and as I had a chance to talk with him, he shared with me some of his vision, and as I was looking at what he had to offer, Sarah's store kind of came into mind and said, boy, I've heard from her and from other people, if we could have that same type of store in our community for men, a lot of things could happen for us. I can speak from the side that we've already talked about, those government services, those programs that we can offer. But what I felt he really needed to hear was from another young person who's doing a similar type of work. What are the struggles that she had? What are the advantages that she saw? We had him eat with Anna, showed him a couple of spots that might be available as a retail space, and then turned him over to Sarah where they talked shop. And she sold a lot more than I could ever do as a mayor.
They have a program in Indiana for young entrepreneurs where towns will go to them, they'll see their business plan, and they'll try to get them to come to their small town. And the mayor actually just had me meet with a young gentleman who wants to open up a men's clothing store. I love talking business. It's the only thing I ever talk about, but it's really neat to meet someone else who's also inspired and wants to kind of do a similar thing to you and talk to them about that.
There's not been a lot of history in Du Bois County in angel investment, but I see that kind of changing. There's just an awareness of the fact that there is some resources here that could be made available to attract this type of business.
Ultimately, it is the whole community's efforts that create a winning environment for entrepreneurs.
I see my job, or the city's job, as that we want to make sure that we don't have any hurdles or stops in the way of the things that cities can provide, in the way of services, in the way of utilities, in the way of just the basic things that you have to have to operate a business and operate an industry. So our job is to make sure all the infrastructure is in place, that we have codes that are favorable to opening a business and operating business. I think there's so much that the community can provide that the government has absolutely nothing to do with it. As our young people grow up, they feel that sense of community here, and as they go on and spread their wings, that draw back home is a very family thing, is a community thing, and that we have a very good support network inside our community beyond what city government can offer. So I don't know how you put a value to that, but it's a blessing that we have as well.
I think Huntingburg is changing to where I think a lot of our generation, where they moved away and they stayed away, I think a lot of them are coming back to those hometowns to be closer to their families.
It's our hope when that opportunity comes that they want to be the new business or a new idea, that this would be a place that can support them in more ways than just financially.
Huntingburg was a good candidate for the funds to revitalize because we're not starting from nowhere. We've got a good thing going on 4th Street already, and I think that's appealing already, and I think it's only bound to get better.
People doubt that they can be successful in a small town. They see the dollar signs in the big cities, and they don't feel like they could have the same life and make the same kind of money if they come back to Little Huntingburg. I think I hear that a lot, and people are like, why did you go back? But there is opportunity in a small town.